Hello. It's me again. How's it going? So, I just felt like playing a little bit more of Star Sector. Anyways, let's see. Well, this one. Alright, let's get to this. Also, I'm gonna be playing a little bit of this video. I'm kind of bored today. I just wanna relax, play Star Sector, hear something in the background. So I hope you don't mind. I'm here for chatting too.
Door in the game that can be entered without it actually opening. Unlike all the other doors in the game that are either closed or open normally when you walk into them, here you just magically go through it. Those of you who've played this game even casually might already know what's behind this door and up that ladder. But what is it actually? What does it really mean? Better yet, what does any of it mean? This city, which seems to be almost cursed. A place that cannot be escaped, where history repeats itself, where pets and families are not welcome, playgrounds are rusting away, and children are merely referenced only in the darkest ways. What depravity is lurking beyond the surface? What warnings were we given about what was to happen? And what the hell is this place?
All the way over there, I see.
It's hard to know exactly where to begin with a video like this. GTA 4 is arguably
the
most disturbing GTA title. It's not just the story, which deals with
feel for that.
serious and personal than the previous games, CJ's mom accepted. Nor is it the many heinous things you can get away with in this virtual world. But it's the whole atmosphere itself. It's hostile, unwelcoming, somewhere you never want to actually live. This is in stark contrast to the bright vibes
Jesus.
with all of its natural beauty too. Vice City also looked much warmer and more like a place where somebody might want to actually be. Liberty City, on the other hand, is far from that. Despite all of its map changes,
Let's check that distress signal.
It has a similar kind of messed up atmosphere to me. And there are a few things that we saw in GTA 3 that definitely turned up a notch in GTA 4. There are just too many aspects of this game that stand out as unsettling. After first playing GTA 4 shortly after its release, I'm still left puzzled and disturbed by so much of it. And in this video, I'm going to try and show every one of these details that I find unsettling. What happens in the main story has probably already been
Okay, I had a feeling that something like that will happen.
Moments you might have missed, and the darkest side missions and strangers you can encounter. I'll also focus on the many oddities of Liberty City itself, and things that are either hidden and unlikely for you to experience on a casual playthrough, as well as those things which are just unexplained, and more or less left up to us to figure out. And rest assured, I'll be going deep into the eeriest Easter eggs, the bizarre in-game internet, and even into the game files themselves to see what disturbing, unused content exists, to try and make sense of it all and see if this can give us any more of an understanding, which isn't too likely. Throughout this video, I'm going to attempt to categorize these different details, but there will definitely be quite a bit of overlap, so it's a bit of a challenge. You can refer to the timestamps and chapters if you're more interested in a certain part of the game.
Jesus, what is this?
Right at the beginning of the game,
It's
we are
over.
introduced to our
Okay.
protagonist, Nico Bellic, who's illegally coming into the city by boat. We get a view of Liberty City as the boat is coming in, and the Statue of Happiness has its back to Nico. This is a bad omen right from the start, and a pretty telling warning of what is to come later, but we'll discuss the statue more elsewhere in the video. Nico talks to fellow migrant Hassan about coming to the country. This is where a pretty major theme of the American dream is brought up, with Hassan talking about
stay
the land
away
of
from that.
opportunity and living the dream. Nico tells Hassan that he was attracted to coming here because of his cousin Roman's emails, where he's ostensibly living this dream. He then says, after the war finished, I couldn't get a job. Nobody could. So I did some dumb things and got involved with some things. Nico kind of makes light of his past here and glosses over some important details for what will become obvious reasons. Those of you old enough might remember Nico making more of an honest admission in the game's first trailer back in 2007, where Nico can be heard narrating over these cinematic time-lapse shots of the city, saying, life is complicated. I killed people, smuggled people, sold people. Perhaps here things will be different. Later in the actual game story, there are a few more instances about Nico's past. First, in the mission,
the identifier responds positively to the signal emitting from the unattended cargo crates, confirming them as logistics containers of Auroran origin. Our analysis shows that the containers are still in good condition. Once confirming the crates and the surrounding area to be safe, you order for the crates recovery and salvaging. They've been out here for so long, probably completely forgotten. We should remove any markings and destroy the crates. Oh, okay. Oh, weapons. I'll take this. I keep finding a lot of these rewards. They all suck, to be honest. Jungle War. Oh, that's something I want to see. Could be the perfect place to set up base. Ice Giant. Let's see, 150 class rating, accessibility of 11%. Ultra rich ore deposits, adequate farmland, moderate ore, 24 organics. That's pretty good. And that seems to be the only war like this here. This place has abundant volatiles. It could be decent, but I don't know.
where Dimitri turns on Nico and teams up with Ray Bulgarin. Dimitri reminds Nico of his former job in the Mediterranean smuggling people.
And you used to work the coast of the Mediterranean, smuggling people into Italy.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But you messed up.
Nico denies any knowledge of this, but once confronted by Bulgarin, he admits that he was busted doing it, and that it wasn't him who screwed up.
We were busted a mile off the coast. I had to swim for my life. I don't know what happened. I nearly drowned. I did my best. I didn't fuck up.
Murder and human trafficking are among the worst things somebody can do, and in so many situations in the story, Nico seems to be a little too comfortable and in control, as if he has prior experience. One such part is the mission where you have to drop Manny and his cameraman off for a doctor's appointment, after Elisabetta gets a bit fed up with it. Nico seems totally in control and has no issues transporting the bodies to the doctor, with no questions asked. There's even a series of disturbing yet pretty funny remarks that Nico makes if the trunk of the car opens, leaving the bodies exposed to the public.
Whoops, we nearly lost you two. Shit, were you guys trying to make a break for it? I wouldn't want the cops seeing you guys. Hey, aren't you that guy from the TV? I can't believe I got the genuine celebrity in the back of my car. Hell, at least you'll live on through your documentary.
Nico's twisted humor in these comments he makes to himself make it seem like this is something Nico might have done before, maybe even more than once. Once the bodies are transported to the doctor for organ harvesting, the doctor asks Nico a question and receives a pretty blunt reply.
No one wants to know if it's really controlled, huh? Know what I mean?
Since we know Nico is a human trafficker, and that he doesn't immediately admit to things he's done in the past, coupled with his ability to casually get the job done, it makes me wonder if this situation with Manny wasn't his first time illegally harvesting organs of a deceased. This mission is also one of the many throwbacks to GTA 3, which I'll discuss in the video, but it's so much more disturbing in this context, as GTA 3 dealt with and here we're literally sending two murdered people to have their organs harvested, one being a cameraman who at least wasn't as much of an annoying wanker as Manny. Another moment from the game that alludes to Nico's dark past is from the mission That Special Someone. When Nico is confronting Darko Brevic for his betrayal years prior during the war, which led to Nico losing many of his childhood friends, Nico asks Darko
Yeah,
how
this
much
is
he
not a
would
good
pay
place.
to give up the location of his friends. And when he gets the answer of $1,000, which leaves him in disbelief, Darko then asks Nico plainly, "How much do you charge to kill someone?" To which Nico has no direct answer. Presumably, Darko hasn't seen or heard about Nico for many years,
That
maybe even
that
since
is
his days
good.
in the war.
Okay.
So how does he seem to know all about Nico's contract killing and murdering? The most logical explanation is that murder for hire has been Nico's bread and butter for a long time, way before he ever came to Liberty City, where he merely continued it. In a mission that forces
It's
you
not
to
so
scroll
good after
through,
all.
Nico makes a rather alarming remark which indicates he's probably a little too familiar with this activity too.
You know, when I was stalking this girl in Europe, I found that 2 car lengths was the best distance. It's 2 car lengths, right? That's how far you'll stay behind the woman when you're harassing her? Apparently, the mob teaches people to stay 2 car lengths behind the target.
Then we have the insanely messed up situation of Nico responding to a car advertisement online under the pretense of making contact with the mob boss daughter selling it, then pretending to test drive the car so he can kidnap the poor lady, who is then later tied up, placed in the trunk of a car, forced to sit in a very unkept apartment, slapped by
Something.
Nico and forced to look at the camera while he takes a photo to send to her
Literally
father so that she
nothing.
can be traded for diamonds. I know she's the daughter of a mob boss, but even with the context, this part of the game is pretty shocking to look back on. So yeah, Nico is not really a great person, if that wasn't already obvious. However, we're given a lot of interesting choices throughout the game that allow Nico, perhaps in some small way, to redeem himself, or at least make an effort to be less of a terrible person. He also does actually possess a conscience. For example, after the mission where you kidnap Gracie Ancelotti, if you randomly call Roman, Nico talks about feeling guilty for doing it.
That's what I thought. I've had to kidnap this girl, and she's a fucking nightmare. Shame on you, Nico Bellic.
Whoa.
No better than this. Who is she? What you take her for?
I'm working with that Irish family. She's some mobster's daughter, Gracie Ancelotti.
So there's that. There are these two central reasons behind why Nico has come to Liberty City, with one being that he was seduced by the American dream as presented by Roman, and wants to come here to genuinely have a better life, whilst the other, perhaps more truthful reason, is that he's here for revenge at all costs. The choices in the game seem to boil down to these two conflicting reasons, allowing us to either
me
minimize
talk to
the
you.
evil and move towards a better life, or to continue on the dark path that Nico has been on for a long time. As mentioned, the player is given a
It says, think the stars to show, or think you had an accident where we don't have enough fuel. We'll get back to the core worlds when you turn fuel. Okay. For some reason, the remnants are neutral to me. Could be thanks to a mod or maybe something in the base game. There's nothing here again. Hey, what's this? Combat Freighter, a hound. Yeah. Let's go here. 200% hazard rating. Scatter ruins. This thing on. Hello stranger, it's been a long time since I'm a strong pipe. Yada. Help us, me and my friends, maybe in strength for this war for too long. There are 32 of us all went to work or passage of this place. Sure, come in. Alright. %, has a rating accessibility of 48%. That's not good. Hope you don't mind, I need this. Holy shit, that's a lot of pirate bounties. Wait. Civilian transport? No. Oh, another terrorist organization. Submit our band. Okay, just hit them. Just leave the fuck alone. Right, okay, get the fuck out of here. The operation progresses swiftly. Your survey teams do the routine checks on the local ruins. Okay. Decivilized could be decent. I don't know. Ooh, Aurora November Advance Package. 750,000. All blueprints in package are already known. Okay, let's save. Yeah, I had the fucking money. That's a free 700,000. We sell this at open port, obviously for fewer tariffs. Yeah, possibly. Hello, Giacomo Neuer. The only thing I'm not sure is that if I sell this to any of the other factions, they will probably start producing those chips. I don't know. Let's see. Holy shit, yeah, keep the money, get the fuck out of here. I just wanted to see the mining station. No. No one else will use the blueprints you sell besides pirates. If you sell a BP on this black market. Okay, now I'm kinda tempted to sell it to the pirates. Ooh. Alright. Ah, Christ. Oh, okay. Me when I had a limited single time acquire veterans package, proceed to sell it to the parents so they can use it to... they can use the motherfucking Sunberry. Let's see. I can sell these things. I got a lot of Aurora and weapons, and some civilian stuff. But I don't know if I'm gonna use them later on. I'm just gonna keep it in my storage. So this. I believe I want to keep at least 10 of these. And 13. Because I wish to keep on building count relays. What else? Oh, I forgot I got this thing tab. Limited access keycard. Wait, I thought... what is happening here? Oh, this is not Nachiteka. No. I forgot. A lot of the Auroran's best and coolest is their missiles and fighters. The guns sort of use assist, besides Solby's A1A nuclear rated guns. As you can see, I don't have that many ships on me. This one kinda sucks. It always gets destroyed. I once watched a YouTube video explaining that the total bend should be the total of adding the shield slots and the weapon slots. I apologize for my accent. I'm sorry. UFF guns are mostly just flux hooks. Ah, I see. Experimental torpedo arm with the high explosive warheads. It will continue to accelerate towards the targets until it reaches the optimal distance before dispersing into multiple guided cluster ammunition. I don't know, go kill this thing. Flutes depends, for example, your weapons flutes also counts PD close range weapons like those Vulcans, which won't be fighting all the time. Let's see. It's okay, I guess. But I got a feeling that I won't be missing it. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna sell everything. Oh shit, not that. But I'm gonna sell it on the black market. I just need to find... Ah, here it is. The Prince of Freeport. Okay, we're just gonna quick save. Go there, go here, and sell everything. As far as I know, the weapon values don't change compared to other things like heavy armaments, rugs, organs. I may be wrong. I'm not an expert on the game. Could really sell this for 500 credits per unit. Maybe. Christ. That's weird. It kind of loses its value. It used to be like 700,000, now it's like 600,000. What the fuck? Corrupt Nanoforge. I want to save this just in case. Nanite repair module. It could be good for later on. Right, bubble spike. We'll sell this. Bale cast a missile. Blankets a 400 units area with an impenetrable chaff cloud that reduces sensor profiles by 50%. That's right then. Chaff cloud. A dense cloud made of sensor impairing shaft reduces the range of which bullets inside can be detected. Oh. I mean, there has to be a limit to the detection range, right? I'm gonna keep that. Explodes with within 300 units radius. Stealing everything out for 2 seconds. Interdicting for 6 seconds and increasing sensor profile by 1000. Grab burst missile violently launches fleet within 500 units away from the explosion, causing no damage. Explosion damages fleets. Okay. Detection range. Detection range limit is really sensor burst. Because yes, sadly you can't go completely under the nose of a fleet point blank when the sensor bursts. I see. I remember rocks used to be the most profitable thing to do, but I don't know. I'm not sure they've changed that. They kinda suck now. I'd rather be selling guns. Speaking of which, I can go to Valhalla and sell them for 1000 each. What is that place? Give me this. Valhalla Scatty. Where's Valhalla? Scatty. I need to be fast. We'll accept this. Shit. And this. Holy. I just barely got here in time. Okay. What else? I forgot to buy fuel. Shit. I should take out here. Whoa. You are too far away from me. No, I don't think I will accept this one. Maybe it is. The fuel, I need quite a bit of supplies. I can sell this and this. I don't think I'm gonna need I'm gonna have any use for these ones. I don't know. I could use this to weaken an enemy fleet before getting into a fight. Also, maybe I will buy another ship. The ship is on the hegemony auxiliary list and as much as as such, its systems have been upgraded to military standard and a rigorous schedule of servicing in force with the expectation that it can be pressed into military service during emergencies. The Kite class. Yeah, sure. Maybe I can hit the other one too. Support, restore, and that's it. Now sell you one of the AI cores I have for 10 points of relationship. No. I get more if I give these things to either Tachyon or the other guys. What do they call Ludwig? Yeah, the Ludwig guys. I got a lot of things to do now. 106 days, 80 days. Okay, let's go here first. Yeah, that's a lot of fucking storms. It's too far away. Fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, come on. Yeah, hello. Never mind. Look at this shit, man. Jesus. Okay, we are almost there, just one day away. Alright. Wait, what? Our tanky had an accident and we don't have enough fuel. Who are you, independent? Yeah, sure, have it for free. Ah, there you are. Ooh. The hulls of a long abandoned pet center. Once common, they are quick to degrade and disintegrate once abandoned. and are thus surprisingly rare. A cursory scan indicates that it has been cold and dead for tens of cycles, at the very least, possibly hundreds. Closer inspection may yield salvage and rare pets. Sifting through what appears to be mostly ancient and useless flies on a barely working dataset, one of your salvage workers comes across some very interesting information pertaining to Eusenation machinations. Sending the dataset back to them will surely raise relationships, but their competitors might value it even more. Sure. Alright. Okay, now I got some pets. I don't know what to do with these things. I'm just gonna sell them, I guess. Okay, interesting. Ah, fuck. Give me a second. Also, fuck. Also, Yakumo, you seem to be pretty experienced with this game. There's not that many people on Twitch playing this game. The biggest one, I believe, the biggest streamer on Twitch right now. Well, not the biggest, one of the biggest, well, a pretty well-known one, I mean, is Project Whiskey, or Whiskey Project. It's just like the most popular Star Sector streamer, I guess. I don't know. Ah, Christ. Look at this. Fuck, man. And I hit myself. I just hit myself with the missile. Fuck. Oh, that's gonna leave a mark. Come on, let's do this. Okay, I have an idea. I'm just gonna keep on throwing missiles to them. Oh, come on. What? the hell is this? Ooh. Oh, this could be good. Okay, I'm gonna mothball this too then. Okay, I'm fucked. Yeah, just one more time. And I don't have more. Fuck. Okay, let's do this. Oh, okay. Both of you, I need you to support me. You two support this guy. Cut him, cut him. Oh, Christ. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not recording that. I got my ass kicked. Okay, wait, what? While making a preliminary assessment, your salvage crew finds a strange automated starship factory lying cold and empty. It appears to be in rather bad shape, completely out of usable materials. Sacrifice a ship. Maybe this one. Wow. Okay, that's pretty good. I believe it's time to go back, maybe. I got 27 days to finish this. I don't think I'll be able to do so. I'm using 6 supplies per day. That ain't good. Oh, don't tell me it's covered in that. Ah, fuck. Alright. What else? Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to do this. Let's see. Shit. Oh, fuck. Oh, no. Okay, there has to be something I can salvage here. A watchtower. Oh, here it is. Oh. Another fucking watchtower. Barely. That's barely. Oh, in the middle of the fucking sun. Oh, okay. I mean the black market. I'm gonna keep on holding this just in case. What the fuck, the music is pretty nice. Let's see. I got this thing, the pulse cannon. This is going to cost me quite a bit of money. Or maybe not. I don't want to focus too much on missiles. I'll put you here. I want you to fight this thing. Boom. Yeah, that's really bad. Never mind. Wow. I had to change the missiles. They kinda suck. Yeah, that's right. Take your time, don't worry about it. Could be good, maybe. Okay, sure, slow. Well, I guess that's it, huh? I don't have more stuff to do. Maybe we should do the academy stuff. Or we could do this instead. What's my stance with the other factions? It's pretty okay, I guess. You know, here to set up a donation, why then? But it is very much in my interest to know about the up-and-coming mercenary captain who is capable of reversing the unfortunate situation created by a ambitious but incautious predecessor. Since his institution is not devoted to purely theoretical work. For what use is knowledge if it does not give us the power and wisdom to change the world? I'll put you in contact with a academician, Elvis. He will be my liaison with you. You will receive a few mundane tasks from various departments. Most of all, I require evidence of trust. Okay.
A number of choices throughout the main story that have some fairly real consequences. Typically, we're given the choice to either execute someone or let them go, which tends to mean you'll encounter them as a stranger later in the game. Here, I'll cover some of the choices that you can make that aren't necessarily part of the main story, but are interesting details nonetheless. I'll also explore some choices that are real, but kind of hidden. There's so much dialogue and variations of dialogue in the game that it's hard to come close to hearing all of it, unless you really just try to fail each mission in every possible way. One of the more interesting phone calls that can happen in the game comes pretty early. If you act like a time traveler and decide to save yourself a lot of trouble, you can do away with Dimitri at the first convenient opportunity. If you do that, then Nico makes the following phone call to Faustin.
I got some bad news, Mr. Faust. Dimitri's gone.
Dimitri dead? This is impossible. Come see me and explain.
Of course, when you go back to Faustin's house, Dimitri is still there, and the mission just repeats as normal. An interesting detail I've noticed though, is that if you kill your friend in a mission and restart enough times, instead of a default or the alternative dialogue that plays, they'll just act uncomfortable and suggest you listen to the radio, as if they remember what happened last time.
I'm all talked out, homie. Let's have some music. Can we just chill and listen to music? Man, yo, don't drive like a bitch, punk!
Some more interesting dialogue I found was during the I'll Take Her mission, where Nico has to go into the safe house where Gracie Ancelotti is held to take a picture of her, which is really a scene straight from the Silence of the Lambs. If you go in and kill Gracie, Nico calls Patty.
Shit, man. I saw her and I got the rage. I killed Grace.
You dumb chump! She was my meal ticket. Jerry ain't gonna be happy with you. You're lucky he's in prison.
Similarly, killing Gordon instead gives this conversation.
I need to learn to control myself. Gordon's dead.
Jesus, Nico, what's wrong with you? You need to get some counseling or something because you're out of control. I'll talk to you later.
The last dialogue is quite fascinating because it suggests Nico went into the safe house and was so disgusted with what he saw that he decided to end Gordon, implying some kind of morality and emotional reaction from Nico. It really is phenomenal writing. In other missions, if certain characters die, for example during a heist, then there'll typically be some dialogue acknowledging who was killed. But on the Waste Not Want Nots mission,
Yeah, big
both
transport.
Michael and Packy
Should be
die,
easy.
then Nico simply drops Gordon off, and no words are exchanged whatsoever. There's something a little eerie about that, but maybe the developers or writers just didn't plan for that possibility, as two characters dying represents quite a huge screw-up on your part. Aside from interesting mission failure dialogue, there are also some messages the game gives the player if you choose to do something really insane or evil. Like at the first clothes shop you unlock in the game, the Russian shop. I randomly drove inside and decommissioned the nice lady running the store. Then this message popped up in the corner of the screen, urging me to control myself. It's pretty funny.
Probably
Also
the gym was the
apparent
most
that they thought about
terrifying
how they
experience of my
can prevent
life.
the player from
And I
just
hope to
going on
never
endless
return to space
rampages
again.
by making them feel judged for acting like a psycho. Speaking of messages, on one of the missions where Roman gets kidnapped and you have to save him, Dimitri texts you a photo of Roman tied up and being held hostage. It's easy to miss, since you might just put the phone down and try to get to Roman as soon as possible. But if you choose to call Dimitri after receiving the text, Nico makes the following threat to him.
I got your message, Dimitri, you piece of shit. You're a dead man. A dead man. Before you die, I'm going to cut your face off. Then I'm going to hang it on my wall to remind me what a lying, cheating, treacherous scumbag looks like. Goodbye, friend.
Dimitri has no response and the call is simply disconnected. The imagery alone is very disturbing, as we know Nico isn't the kind of person who would make a threat and not follow through on it. Maybe the most well-known hidden choice is in the mission Blood Brothers, where Nico is given the choice to either assassinate corrupt cop Francis or his very troubled brother Derek. Most players will probably just make the decision without much deliberation, as you don't have much time to take the shot, and you would have probably already made up your mind on which brother you want to keep around by this point. However, if you call Francis whilst on the rooftop and ready to take the shot, the result is quite interesting. He picks up the phone and discreetly offers you a raise in order to get the job done.
Just a second here, Derek. I gotta speak to one of the sergeants. Hey, what's the problem? I thought you were gonna make something happen for me.
I'm not so sure about it.
What's gonna make you sure? You want me to give you a raise?
Which you can either accept or decline.
That might help.
Alright then, call it a bonus. Makes it happen.
Accepting it and killing Derek gives you significantly more cash as a reward. This choice really cements Nico as a cold-blooded killer with no conscience, who only cares about the money. There are many other similar decisions in the story, but none of them have this sort of secret decision to be even more evil. One mission in the game, Wrong is Right, given by United Liberty Paper, perhaps secretly allows the player to be a better person. This mission captures a lot of the themes that are discussed in this video. We've got this sense that Nico cannot escape his dark past even in a new country.
Welcome to America. Hasta la deja.
There's this conflict
Well,
and confusion
really
between what's
fucking
right
fuck
and what's
my
wrong. Oleg
pirates.
Minkov is one of the few characters that you encounter that has practically no information about them anywhere, including the Liberty Police website, which usually lists details about all suspected criminals in the game. Minkov either isn't a criminal or his crimes are top secret and a matter of national security. All we know is that Minkov has information that has got some very powerful people really worried, and now they want to shut him up. This is made evident by his emails. Ironically, one of his friends even tries to assure him that no one is after him, and that he's just being paranoid, which reminds me of the lyrics to a Nirvana song. Minkov's house is pretty sketchy. He seems to have grabbed some things and fled in a hurry. The rug looks odd, as if something is bulging from underneath it. It also appears as though he's recently pried out something that was in a hidden compartment under the floorboards of his house. Was it a bug or a listening device put there by the government? Was it
Fuck.
where Minkov was keeping his dossier of top secret files? The files that have the information that could bring down some bad and powerful people? Nico clearly feels quite uneasy about killing Minkov. Maybe he gets the sense that Minkov is perhaps not a bad guy, unlike the other people he's had to kill up until this point. This is where we get to the possibly hidden choice. You have to locate Minkov, chase and finally eliminate him. Normally you'd keep shooting at him in his car until he's done, and that ends the mission successfully. Curiously though, if you just shoot Minkov's vehicle until it sets on fire, he'll jump out and actually survive. This completes a mission and triggers the same dialogue with UL Paper, where Nico states he's killed Minkov,
fuck.
yet he clearly hasn't. You can then continue to follow Minkov, and he even talks and interacts with the player. Perhaps it's a glitch, but maybe this really is a hidden choice that you can make to spare someone who isn't bad after all, prompting Nico to simply lie to UL Paper. Like any good novel or well-crafted story,
Holy
you
shit.
see a lot of foreshadowing of the terrible things to come later. Sometimes these can be really obvious and
Wait, what the fuck is this? Simulation engine design type NVIDIA Corporation. What? Huh. Funny. So a lot of things for colonies. Keep them. I shall keep these things. Weapon catcher. Okay, let's see. Oof. Wow, that's... Yeah, that's not good for me.
in your face, but others are a lot more subtle and easy to miss the first time around. On a second playthrough, it's easier to catch the warnings as you already know what's ahead. The biggest example of foreshadowing that I can think of is in the mission where you are tricked into killing Mikhail Faustin for Dmitri. Up to this point, Dmitri seems like one of the most reasonable people you encounter. He presents himself as calm and rational, and also appears to have Nico's back. In contrast, Faustin is the hot-headed psycho who's only too quick to resort to murder to solve all his problems. As it turned out though, Faustin is a man of principles, albeit very questionable ones. He's also actually pretty loyal, in retrospect. Meanwhile, in the end, Dmitri is revealed to have absolutely no loyalty, and only looks out for his own interests, screwing basically everyone else in the process. There are some early hints and signs as to his true nature, and Dmitri shows himself to be a little more callous as time goes by, but it's not exactly spelled out for us until it's far too late. We're given hints to this in this mission cutscene, but it's brushed off as Faustin's paranoia.
It works.
Yes, but you've angered the wrong people.
I've angered people. Me? Strange. When I give out the money, it's us. When I have to push people, it's me. All alone. Don't think
When you are manipulated by Dmitri into getting Faustin out of the way, you make your way over to destroy him. Faustin moves war to Dimitri's deceptive and disloyal nature, but Nico was Dmitri who wanted to live. Faustin saved him, but Nico is too dead set on doing the job by this stage. You then have to fight off his guards and chase him. If you were distracted by all the gunshots and did away with him quickly, it's pretty easy to miss this part of the game's dialogue. Once Faustin is cornered on the rooftop, he tells Nico exactly what's going to happen later on.
Dimitri turned on me, not the other way around. America made him free. Dimitri went down on you as well. You should discover this. I am a man of convictions. I have only done what I believe. None of you will survive this country without me. This American greed takes everyone. Take it easy.
And and again, we see this theme of the American dream being a lie, with Faustin warning Nico that American greed is the root cause of all of this. Faustin didn't just warn us about Dimitri, but also about this place that seems to cause people to act in these evil, treacherous ways. And he wasn't lying. The next major example of foreshadowing is straight after in the story, in the mission Roman Sorrow. After everything going pear-shaped, with Dimitri reintroducing Nico to his old pal Bulgarin, and completely turning on and ambushing him, Nico finds Roman hiding in the trunk of the car, and they decide to grab their things and head to an apartment in another part of the city. They then find both the apartment and the taxi company being burned to the ground. During the journey, Roman shares a dream that he had with Nico.
I was thinking about getting out of the cab business. Last night I had a dream.
Really?
Yes. You and I had a place of our own. A place where people come to eat and relax. Classy place. None of this fast food diner bullshit. We own a real restaurant. Town is a place
Ooh, that's good.
distinction, you know?
I can't see myself settling down.
Not now, but in the dream you've met the right woman. She's beautiful, pure like my Mallory. In the dream, Mallory and me are married. And everything is perfect. This could be the start of that. Fresh beginning.
Although at this point in the game, there's no real reason to think this dream could actually come true. By almost the end of the story, this is exactly the direction it goes in, and it seems like it might actually come true after all. Roman does get married, and Nico does indeed find a decent person that he could be with. Tragically though, there is no possible ending to the story that sees this dream come to fruition, as either Roman or Kate must die by the end. The way that Roman shares his hopes and dreams about this idealistic future, and then immediately sees the dream shattered as he realizes his engagement ring is lost in the fire, feels like a warning to us that this dream that he has of a better life and future will also go down in flames by the end, which it absolutely does. Another little example of foreshadowing is during a mission where Nico and Playboy go to meet with someone to make a drug deal. Playboy describes the man they're going to meet to Nico,
Buyer is some Asian dude called Charlie.
to which Nico replies,
Like in Vietnam.
Just like the movies, money.
For anyone unaware of the history here, during the Vietnam War, Viet Cong soldiers were referred to using the NATO phonetic alphabet as Victor Charlie, Victor Charlie being code for Viet Cong. This was then abbreviated to Charlie. Since the Viet Cong employed many surprise traps and different methods of preemptively attacking US soldiers, this makes Nico's comment pretty prophetic, since the drug deal was actually all an elaborate trap, which Nico and Playboy had to fight themselves out of.
The deal didn't go so good. Charlie was an undercover cop. I think the feds have Playboy.
The last example of foreshadowing I'll discuss is actually from the Ballad of Beethoven DLC, rather than Beethoven. In the opening sequence of GTA 4, this is the first time we're shown a character whose name is Beethoven, and is only referred to as. We see him consume diamonds as the in order to deliver them for the followers. In the Ballad of Beethoven, the cook takes part in a few important meetings and exchanges in relation to the diamonds, which end up becoming a massive headache for everyone in the story, aside from one lucky homeless guy at the end, who I'm thinking we'll get to encounter in the next episode. Long story short, Cook meets a pretty grisly end as he's ultimately blamed by Bulgarin for the missing or stolen diamonds. This part of the game really reminds me of that one Morgan Freeman, Brad Pitt and Kevin Spacey movie, where they have to deal with a rather similar box in a similar situation. Bulgarin guides Lewis to open the box, where the cook's severed head is found. Part of what makes this scene disturbing is the fact that in GTA 4 there is really no gore compared to other GTA games. You never really see any severed body parts, as it were. Now you might be thinking, where's the hidden detail? Where's the foreshadowing? It's quite subtle, but I'll let you listen to part of a conversation that Tony has with the cook regarding the diamonds in an earlier mission cutscene.
All right, this is them.
These are great. They're great. And, 2 million. You had your head in the oven.
Mr. Tony, I have what they tell you, perfect clarity.
I get the sense that the writers left that sick little reference there, and they probably got a kick out of it. You would definitely not think twice about it in the first playthrough, but playing again after knowing that his head actually ends up in a cake box, there's no way this dialogue wasn't intentional. Elisabetta is an important character once Nico and Roman flee from Bohan to Broker after that whole debacle with Dimitri. She's a good friend of Mallory's, and she sets Nico to work on some drug deals that all go predictably badly. In the main story, the last time we hear from her is when she's overcome with paranoia and has the feds closing in on her shortly before getting sentenced. Before this, we get to see firsthand how impulsive and wild she can be. She also has immediate access to a doctor who illegally harvests people's organs, which is more than concerning all by itself. But taking a bit of a closer look at her, we find out some more pretty dark stuff. On the Liberty Police database, we can see her previous convictions of criminal history. One in particular stands out, and that's the fact she committed a certain kind of criminal act that was either on a minor or considered minor. And it doesn't end there. In the audio files from the game, we see an unused phone call that Elisabetta makes to Nico after she gets sentenced.
You can't even hear me! Fucking prison! Painful!
As you can hear, she
What is
sounds a
it?
little too enthusiastic about her new cellmate. In light of what we've learned about her on the police database, this phone call, which was never actually used in the final cut of the game, becomes all the more unsettling. Even her other interactions in the cutscenes can now be viewed in a more unnerving way. This is yet another bit of disturbing lore that they threw into the game for anyone who took the time to just look. Whilst the real black sheep of the McCreary family is Francis, Derek is presented as a very troubled individual, whose habits and problems are of great concern to the other brothers, with Packy making a little too many jokes about it.
Hit the needle on the old head there, did I, Derek?
It's clear that Derek is battling some serious demons. In the opening of the Free Leaf Clover mission, Nico is introduced to Derek by Packy, who mentions he's just
Maybe we
returned
can
from Ireland and was
destroy this
involved
thing.
in the struggle over there.
And Gerald.
Hi.
Derek has just returned to the family fold after a good few years in the old country, involved in the struggle, sort of like you, I'd imagine.
Pretty quickly after this, it's made clear that Derek knows a very alarming amount about explosives and bombs.
I got enough PE4 here to get through anything they throw at us.
PE4? I never heard of that. It's some limey name for C4 that Derek here picked up over there.
I ain't having an argument with you, Patrick. Safe to say, what we're using
What could be
controllable enough
good?
to go through any vault door without incinerating whatever's inside. Not gonna leave much residue on the notes either, so they should be washable.
He makes the following heist possible, as his expertise is used to blow off the vault doors. Later on, we encounter Derek, who is strung out on a random public bench, overcome with paranoia and, by the looks of it, regret. He sends Nico on a few insane missions to basically get rid of those he thinks are going to bring him down, or share information about him, with one individual being from Ireland. Once more, everything is made a bit clearer when you go into the police database and view Derek's record. While it's not clear what he got in trouble for in Ireland, it seems that politically motivated violence is something he may not be a stranger to, along with the use of explosives. He's gotten into trouble a fair few times during particular years known for being quite noteworthy in Irish history, relating to a certain group that has been classified as a terrorist organization for their use of violence and specifically for bombings. Again, it's not made clear whether those things happened in Liberty City or in Ireland, but it is stated that he was arrested in Ireland. Aside from that, we also see that he's acted as a police informant and has given information that led to some high-profile convictions for libel. Like everything else in the GTA universe, this connection to something real is obviously
Christ.
but it makes you wonder, what has he done that's so bad to make this all come to the prompt in exchange for leads? What real demons is Derek battling? What's turned him into this drug-addicted, broken person who lays around and just wants to escape?
But he's
Always
fucking
paranoid
ass.
of others,
Thank you.
particularly those he knew in Ireland, talking too much. This is probably the most disturbing bit of information that is shared throughout the whole story, and is only revealed after you go on a certain number of tedious dates with Kate. The first time I played this game, I don't think I even bothered to call Kate when prompted to by Packy, so I think quite a lot of other players may have completely missed this. You can complete the whole game to 100% without ever needing to hear it. On each date, a little more personal information gets revealed. The whole time there's this bond growing between Nico and Kate. They open up to each other more, and Nico talks about Roman's mother in a really positive light.
My mother is one of life's victims. I was mostly raised by Roman's mother. She was great, an amazing person. When the war came, she saved up all her money and sent Roman.
After a certain point, Nico drops this.
What was the war? It was great. We got to see people turn into animals. Animals raised.
Sorry, I knew it was a double question.
Finally. I just need to wait a little bit
The Romans'
to
mother.
repair my ships and then I can attack the
She was
pirate station.
I found her. Roman does not know. He thought she died in a house fire.
It comes as a massive shock, especially considering that Roman still has absolutely no idea. And perhaps Roman will never find out the truth, as at the end of the game he either dies without finding this out, or Kate dies, making it so that, in a way, the truth dies with her.
Okay, let's
In
see.
this section of the video, I'll address the actual map of Liberty City. Whilst the map of GTA San Andreas was significantly larger than that of GTA 4, the sheer level of detail that went into the design of Liberty City here was unlike anything we'd really seen before in a modern open-world game. It's like every street, set of stairs, and building has character and tells a story. And I think the story that these places tell, in large part, is quite a dark one. Before I go over the actual city though, I first want to spend some time to talk about one probably really obvious but still creepy fact, which is that there is no escape from the city. Once you're in, there's no way out.
You leaving Liberty City?
How could I leave Liberty City? There's nowhere else to go.
Of course, open world games tend to have pretty rigid limits on the map, and inevitably you'll run into some invisible wall or boundary that prevents you from going any farther. What makes it unlike in GTA 3, where there's a very clear Truman Show style wall that you hit and can't go past. In GTA 4, it seems that you just keep moving away from the map forever and ever.
That was
In my attempts to get as
was-
far away from
that
the
was
city as
easy.
possible, I found that it always took an equal amount of time to come back. This is a bit messed up, because it does give you the impression that you might you never get it. After a certain point, your health starts to mysteriously drain off. In one previous attempt with a helicopter, it started to make engine failure equal sounds, despite not having any actual physical damage. Whereas in GTA 5 you simply get eaten by sharks, here you just start dying with no real explanation. I suppose if Nico is swimming, then maybe it could be hypothermia that drains your health. But in helicopters or boats, this explanation just doesn't work. You are forced to make a U-turn before it's too late, and then take a long
Oh,
trip
fuck.
back to the city. There's no other way around it. Either you die for no apparent reason, or your attempts to escape the city are utterly defeated. Repeatedly using the health chip to activate God mode will only have you moving towards the abyss forever, going nowhere and towards nothing. You're stuck. Probably it's overthinking, but it's like the city itself has been trapped inside. You know you're back, magically wind up here. Yeah, I get it, it's just the way the game is designed, but looking at it in this way makes it seem a lot more like purgatory.
This is
or
pretty
even
bad,
hell
what the
itself,
fuck?
Given that one definition of hell can be a place you can't escape from. So many of the buildings, streets, alleyways, and a lot of the interiors of the
Okay,
few
this
entrable
sucks.
buildings all give this ominous and very unwelcoming vibe. You get the impression that they put a lot of effort into making much of the environment seem totally hostile, like you're not supposed to be there. At times, in certain isolated places, it better resembles the post-apocalyptic landscapes of Fallout rather than a bustling city that is supposed to be populated with the living. Everything is in disrepair and feels like this derelict ghost town, particularly if you're in the right weather conditions. These places would be the perfect setting for some real survival horror. It comes as no real surprise that I included investigations used the zombie movie as developers eventually scrambled for city resurrection. Honestly, they wouldn't have had to change basically anything if the zombie survival mode took place in a few of these locations. They're already the ideal setting. One particular area that sums up a lot of this post-apocalyptic atmosphere is this place. Some kind of dark area. There's this
You get the
It
fuck
looks
out
like
of
it's been
here.
there for years, just accumulating dust. Do people just leave homes around like this? Well, maybe I'll see this one. It's not the only abandoned buildings in the location. Abandoned docks, you have to be quite careful not to fall between the gaps in the lines that have seemingly been created from years on. You stumble upon piles of trash, various computer
The fuck are you doing?
just scattered around. It really does feel like you're in a wasteland. But then you see something something about it.
Oh, finally. Oh, wait, no. Ah, fuck.
When you get a bit closer, you start to see what looks like a building. Huge strong gusts of wind. Where is everyone? It seems so barren, aside from the suspended pond that looks like it might have recently had rain. On the other side of the building, there are these pretty ironic-looking signs which advertise for the shop is licensed, officially registered, meets all of the regulations. This doesn't even have any building doors. The bar security. Parts, all totally left
Okay, this
to
is
rust, with
really
broken
bad.
swing
Fuck.
sets, crooked equipment, dodgy and dangerous rides. Whilst these places aren't the only ones that have been abandoned in the game, it's interesting to note that these are all the places where you would typically see children and families playing and having fun. Aside from the odd, usually quite dark reference to children in the game, the environment makes it very clear that here, children do not exist. It reminds me of a pretty brilliant sci-fi movie I saw a couple years before GTA 4 came out, called Children of Men, with the premise of that movie basically being that for a couple of decades, no children have been born in the world. Liberty City certainly resembles such a reality. Now, of course, there aren't any kids in the game because how
I
would
need to
that
head
even work?
back.
You couldn't play any role in the story of the
The
criminal
core works.
underworld. You couldn't have them walking around the city or really being present at all, unless you made them invincible or something like Fallout 3. But that would only make the game less realistic with no real benefit. So I get it. Obviously there are no kids. But why do all of these places have to be so conspicuous and just so out of place? Why not just make normal looking playgrounds and an amusement park? And if that causes some kind of continuity issue as they'd be unused, then why even bother making them in the first place? I would argue that the writers and developers used this discrepancy in what is otherwise a fairly realistic simulation of the world to try and communicate something through the environment. All of this immediately reminded me of GTA 3, where in junkyards you can come across these rusty, abandoned school buses. These are effectively the only reference to the existence of children in the game, and they're lying there, completely dead and forgotten in a junkyard. It seems that in GTA 4, they aim to expand and develop this creepy aspect of Liberty City from GTA 3 by creating the same effect on a much bigger scale, with all the other places which are supposed to be for children. It comes across as some kind of symbol or metaphor. That Liberty...
Okay, I believe this is a good time to stop with Star Sector. But before I'm done with the stream, I want to do something quick. Let's play one match of that look. Just give me a second.
City isn't just a crime-ridden hellscape of a place where children and families shouldn't be, but also that innocence itself is simply not present in this place. It's condemned, cursed even, just like the world in Children of Men. Probably the most well-known glitch in the game is the swing set of death, which takes place in exactly this kind of abandoned playground area near some apartments. The swings themselves are totally unused and unusable. One swing of a set is wrapped around the top of the frame, whilst the other is literally broken, with a part of the seat wrapped around the frame and hanging off of it, with the other part of the seat on the ground and one of the chains just hanging there. Touching, hitting, or interacting with the swing set in any way makes
it's up.
This kind of thing happen. It shakes and almost twitches in a very sudden and violent way. The chains start moving about in this circular fashion. Everything sort of jolts and causes these cracks in the ground to form, and pieces of concrete or whatever to kind of just fly away. It's insane, and anyone that is unlucky enough to touch them gets a rather rude awakening. Most think of it
audio. Maybe a little bit of music would be fine. Oh, the audio? The game audio is really low, what the fuck? Yeah, just one game. That's all I want.
I hate to be on your backside, but it ain't. I hate to be on your backside, but it ain't.
She'll be fine. Oh fuck. Holiday is the only character I seem to vibe with. The only character that understands me.
It is time to prepare for battle.
Oh fuck. Okay, I can play
This
this.
as just a hilarious glitch, which it totally is. But is there an actual purpose that it serves? Is it really just a developer oversight that they decided not to patch because people found it funny? They're never used by any of the NPCs in the game. They just sit there,
What the
waiting
fuck?
for their next victim. Also, why does this insane car catapulting bug happen just in the spot? It's worth noting that the swing sets of death are not the only swing sets in the game. Here, we can see the exact same ones in a totally different area, curiously organized so that anyone swinging on them would probably hit anyone in the front or behind them. They're the same sets with the same broken seats and screwed up chains. Yet, any interaction with them is completely normal. They rattle and shake a bit when you hit them with the car, but nothing crazy whatsoever. This is another piece of evidence that points to the fact that the swing sets of death could be intentional in some way, because it's not like they couldn't have a swing set with all its weird
okay.
working elsewhere. It could just still be the result of complex physics elements conflicting with each other though. The swing set has a lot going on, the frame, the chain and seats, but the thought that this could be on purpose is pretty unsettling. The imagery of this abandoned yet unexplainably murderous swing set seems like the perfect fuel for a creepypasta, as if there's some ghost children haunting it and punishing anyone who comes too close. And yet, it's just there in the game, never patched, never really explained. The most mysterious and weird place in this section is ironically named Funland, where absolutely no fun takes place, ever. Well, maybe sometimes. We're first introduced to Funland when Nico takes Michelle out on their first date, and his grand idea is to take her to the fun fair, which Michelle ostensibly agrees is a good idea. If you play through the date a few times and go towards the carnival, Michelle gives these differing, inconsistent explanations about why they can't go there.
You know, the carnival isn't open this time of year. I don't know if it would pass safety regulations anyway. Carnival's closed, Nico. I think some big developers bought it or something. Hey, Nico, the carnival isn't open. I think they're going to turn it into a big Las Venturas-style theme park.
Since we know in retrospect that Michelle is working for the government, and the very nature of her relationship with Nico is based on lies and manipulation, means there's something she knows that we don't. I'm almost certainly making this deeper than it actually is, and maybe Michelle is just giving different guesses each time. In any case, let's take a closer look at the very bizarre Funland. Right off the bat, the gate looks like the entrance to a concentration camp. Everything is derelict and forgotten, just gradually becoming a piece of scrap metal. There are some curiously named Shoot Your Load and the Diddy ride. One of the rides clearly shows areas from San Andreas along with the highway, which in contrast looks idyllic and nice compared to where we are now. The views from the Urban High are pretty gloomy and overwhelming. And even on the roller coaster, it looks like the biggest thrill would have been from whatever crimes you could see from the neighboring streets that are available. Again, there are no kicks to enjoy from it, so why is it possibly still here? The only activity that happens here is during the mission from the Valley of Daytona, where the place is used by gangsters towards drugs, concealing them in a stupid confusion container case. During that mission, we can see rides being brought back to life, which really doesn't do much to make the place look any less haunted. The last detail I'll mention is this: a weird, what appears to be an actual photo of a woman at a ticket booth. This looks like half of a mistake, but also half of a curse. It just seems out of place, almost intentionally so, creating this unnerving vibe of seeing something fake or synthetic, like the whole place is being created with the appearance of being real. It's just a facade. It couldn't have been that hard to edit her out. Now we're left with a raw image. This serves as a great segue into my next section. As with any game, there are only so many gigabytes and megabytes of textures and files that make up everything you see. So despite GTA 4 being insanely detailed compared to the previous games, you'll inevitably come across little things that just stick out of it if you look at them too closely. That blurry image of the woman at the ticket booth at Funland is a prime example. It goes without saying that this is just one of the limitations of the game that's ultimately made up of files, and probably not in any way intentional. But if you're anything like me and have a habit of making a massive deal about every little thing, then it can really add to the feeling of this game. It gives me this vibe of there being a lack of reality, or a glitch in the simulation, a sign that what you're looking at is which of course it is. But with how detailed and alive so much of the game feels, it makes it that much more strange. There are many examples of these cracks in the simulation, like blurry 2D textures trying to represent the interior of a store, the same abandoned sofa in the same position, with the same 2 planks of wood lying on it, copied and pasted big clumps of trash with the same computer monitor, the same keys missing from the same keyboard, and so on. These feel like cracks in the simulation, and in essence they are cracks in the simulation, which accidentally reinforce this vibe that we're trapped in some kind of inescapable dystopian purgatory or something. Anyway, moving on. Not long after this game was released, people online began talking about this really unsettling experience in the subway. They claimed there was a rat humanoid hybrid creature that ate homeless people and lived in the subway. They called him the Rat Man. But from everything I've seen, there's really no actual evidence of his existence. This is in the category of internet urban legend, similar to Bigfoot or aliens in South Korea, which all turned out to be mods or just the players misinterpreting normal game sounds. People spend hours spoofing themselves out, running around the pitch black subway looking for the Rat Man, to no avail. I recommend reading the GTA Myths fandom page on Rat Man to get the full story. But since it's not real, I want to talk about the place where the Rat Man is supposed to exist instead. The subway is very creepy, possibly the scariest place in the game, and that shouldn't really be a surprise. What else would you expect? Subways are creepy by their very nature. It's why this worked so well in GTA 4. It's no different. It feels so isolated and claustrophobic, at least until a train comes and almost kills you, before very quickly leaving you alone once again. You feel like someone or something could be chasing you at any time. The subway system seems to just go on forever and ever, like you're stuck inside.
Oh my god.
Eventually, though, you do come across these larger areas, congregated by homeless people. The graffiti here is of a much higher standard, and you start noticing these symbols that will pop up again and again throughout the game. There are mattresses, scrapped cars, shopping carts, random boxes, and fires to keep people out. The homeless people gathered deep into the metro tunnels is also a throwback to those really unsettling and unexplained tramp people standing around a hidden package inside of a totally purposeless tunnel in GTA 3, armed with Molotov cocktails and not reacting to anything, like some bizarre end-of-the-world anarchist club. In GTA 4, the Metro people exhibit similar imagery, as they also just stand around the barrels of fire for seemingly all eternity. but here the realism is obviously a lot clearer.
It's really bad.
Relief washes over you in an awesome wave once you do eventually make it back to the surface and out of the tunnels. Yes, the darkness of the metro tunnel is an important part of a major mission in the game as a way to escape the cops. So, just like the abandoned Sprunk factory and some of the interiors of buildings and missions, the creepiness and mystery is actually found at the start once you've played through the story and understand the context and what functions in the game. But after those missions, these places are still there, still accessible, which is where they get added. The place to discuss for now is the Statue of Happiness. Well, outside of it, at least. It needs to be stated first, for any further discussion, that the Statue of Happiness is highly satirical and contains a few obvious, but again, entirely insensitive references to politicians and certain people. The irony is pretty transparent in the statement from an in-game website that claims it's the biggest symbol of the American dream, and it was built by the French. Our first impression of the statue isn't that strange, and the hidden aspects of it aren't yet apparent. Like most things, it looks almost quite nice and beautiful from a distance, whether that's passing by during the intro to the game or looking at it through the binoculars. Even when you get to Happiness Island, the true nature of the statue is still pretty obscured. Walking around, you'll find various picture stands which display these photos of the statue for sale. It looks quite aesthetic and pleasant based on these images, and very similar to the Statue of Liberty, just with a bit of a smile. You're required to put some effort into violating various air traffic laws to get a closer, truer look at the statue. And this is where it immediately is shown to be rather grotesque looking, in stark contrast to the way it looks in photos and pictures. Perhaps these images of the statue are from an unfinished, later version, but the quite dramatic difference in appearance makes me think there could be some intentional message behind it. As if they're trying to communicate that the appearance of it from postcards and the momentary glance of the tourist is an illusion. They only get a quick glimpse of it, and those far away can only see some idealized version. This can never come close to the reality of what's there. Those who are up close and personal
I'll be back in a
see
second.
true ugliness, and the illusion, along with your hope, is shattered.
hidden pit
Good game.
will pay for his arrogance.
Good game.
The work is done.
Oh fuck. Okay, I'm back. Oh shit. Sorry for that. I had to do something quick in real life.
The reality is only viewable by those who are already trapped
I don't
here for
want
long
to.
enough and are brave or insane enough to really
I want
see
to
the truth
imagine
up close. And by that time, it's
how the game
probably
went.
too late. There's something intensely sinister about how the face looks up close compared with far away. It reminds me a lot of the face of the moon in Majora's Mask, constantly looking down at us, knowing that we cannot escape it. Now that we're close enough to see what it really looks like, we can turn to the inscription that the statue is holding, which reads, "Send us your brightest, your sharpest, your most intelligent, yearning to breathe free and submit to our authority. Watch us trick them into wiping rich people's asses, while we convince them it's a land of opportunity." Again, we're given this theme of disillusionment with the American dream. We're getting this message that this whole place is some kind of trap.
Is working for a living really that bad?
Then there's the actual orientation and position of the statue. It's facing towards the city itself. This is another intentional difference from the Statue of Liberty, which is facing away from the city and towards the boats entering it, in a way welcoming travelers to this new land that promises liberty and a better life. Since there's an inversion here and Lady Happiness is instead facing away from those coming into the city, and she's perhaps supposed to be a welcoming symbol for those wishing to move towards happiness, we can interpret this to mean that actual happiness is only possible by moving away from Liberty City. I think it's no accident that in practically every cutscene that features the Statue of Happiness, including the introduction where Nico arrives on the boat, it's always facing away. It's a subtle sign that the American dream, if it even exists, is not to be found here. But as I already covered at the beginning of this chapter, there's no escaping this place. You're condemned to always return, whether you give up and come back, or die and respawn at the hospital. Adding more credibility to the symbolism here, in what most people consider is the happiest ending, which is still pretty damn depressing, where Kate dies instead of Roman, the statue is now facing us in the cutscenes. The weather is also sunny in this particular ending. In the other, arguably way darker ending, it's raining and the statue is facing away from us once again. While I'm by no means finished with discussing the statue, as I still need to cover it in the Easter egg section, I'll mention this one last detail from the outside of it, and that's this really creepy, discordant music box tune that plays when you're in certain positions around the statue.
Time to go flying.
I have no idea if this plays anywhere else in the game, or if it's really coming from some gift shop, or somewhere else I'm obviously missing. But the eerie, broken nature of the sound is very upsetting, fitting with everything else we've covered quite nicely. It's a beautiful melody that's been distorted, in a similar way to this facade of the statue and what it represents also being twisted, not quite right. To conclude this chapter, let's go back to that room where Gracie asked Lottie to become captive. I wasn't sure exactly where we should go, so I'll cover it here as it's worth a closer look. Before we even get into the room, we're greeted by Gracie's cries and moans. Upon walking in and having a look around, a few things stick out. The rather unpleasant graffiti, the weird Flex film that Gordon is transfixed by playing on the TV, which incidentally is the same film playing in the shop that we visited earlier in the game with Dimitri. There's also Gordon's pretty unusual and endless requests for fries.
Setting a barrel. You're going down.
Again, the casual nature of it all makes you wonder just how many times Gordon might have done this before.
I see the doorman.
Leaving and re-entering the room also triggers Gordon to say some kind of annoying thing.
Boys and girls.
Let's see who's still standing.
They took out Silver.
Once you leave and the door closes itself, it's now permanently locked after necessity. Like other interiors in the game's story, however, we can clip ourselves back into it, except now Gracie and Gordon have obviously done it. Liberty City has a bunch of wacky and wonderful people inhabiting it, and Nico has the chance to encounter some pretty interesting characters, to say the least. A few of these people are those we've already encountered, and possibly spared, from the main story, whilst others are just totally random strangers. They all have one important thing in common though, which is that they all need Nico's help with something. This invariably leads Nico to getting a lot more than he bargained for. The first depraved stranger is Jeff, who is clearly paranoid and has some marital issues that he needs help with. He first asks you to gather evidence against his wife, who he believes is having an affair, leading to Nico going into a cafe, spying on her while she sits with another man, and eventually taking photos as evidence. This is already quite concerning, but it doesn't hold a candle to what unfolds later. If you want to prevent some pretty gruesome stuff and speedrun Jeff's missions, you can just go mental and kill his wife. Doing the mission normally, Nico sends the photos to Jeff, who then goes crazy over the phone. After 10 days, Nico then gets a call out of nowhere from Jeff, who's asking for help again, this time in an underground car park. You arrive to find a pretty distraught Jeff, who reveals something quite dark.
Time to do what I do best.
You then are tasked with getting rid of the body, which Nico agrees to because this mission is now the second program where you just dispose of the dead matter. And just like the mission
Let's see who's still standing.
far. You actually feel complicit in your own which of course is wrong, but Nico doesn't really have a choice, as by this point he's already implicated in the previous stalking mission to Jeff. And also, he can't possibly turn down
Jesus.
$5 grand. After disposing of the evidence, it seems you are finally going to do everything you want. Well, until you encounter him a third time. Somehow, he's already married to a new woman and is again paranoid about her having an affair with her ex. Nico is asked to kill her, which he remarkably now doesn't accept, even though the act is on the table. Shortly after, Jeff thankfully gets wound
No
up.
more playing around.
We still have time to stop the Hidden King.
The way the driver can't be bothered being put on hold and drives off is a good bit of dark humor. But apparently, if you can manage to kill the driver before he hits Jeff, then he goes on his merry way and the mission still ends successfully. Personally, I think it's best for Jeff not to walk away. No video like this would be complete without discussing Eddie Lowe. He's unquestionably the most deranged and depraved person you can encounter in the whole game. You find him only very late at night in Alderney City, in an alleyway. He needs Nico's help with dropping off something that's in a bag. Basically, everything about Eddie, from his voice
It's a silly question, I know, silly question. It's just I was wondering because maybe that's what makes us different from the animals.
to his unusual facial expressions, is designed to give you the creeps. Everything he says
I'm not stopping the stream until I win a game.
more than a little off-putting. After you help him, what was pretty obvious anyway is the Liberty Tree newspaper, where we learned that a helmet coat of a jogger was found stuffed in a sports bag. One of many victims of an unidentified serial killer that is now found with Nico. Later, you encounter Eddie again.
I can't hold him for long.
But this time, Nico is a bit more dismissive. After attacking you, he managed to get on there. Eddie runs off, and you get this quite haunting mission failure message
The
saying
fuck is
Eddie
picking me?
Lowe is still out there, waiting. Killing him, which is the only rational choice, leads him to being discovered and reported on the various media outlets of the city, where more details of the crimes come out.
The Baroness is mid-renovation.
Oh my god.
Come on.
Of course, it doesn't end there, however. Eddie Lowe has quite an online presence, which shouldn't come as too much of a surprise. First, we've got his criminal record, which desperately requires an update on the Liberty Police database. He also has a blog, which actually continues to get updated even after his death. That may well be some developer oversight, but it could also mean something deeper. Like, perhaps not Eddie, but someone just like Eddie with the same sick interests still out there, waiting, posting. Anyway, it gives us some more insight into the inner workings of Eddie's mind, not that we particularly asked for. As if that wasn't enough, we have a profile on My Room, which lists even more of his crimes and odd things. Now, there's no real mystery with Eddie.
Oh.
It's probably obvious to most players exactly who he is, roughly 9 seconds into first encountering him. Everything is really on the nose. What's more unsettling is that people like Eddie are simply lurking in alleyways and around the city. Not only that, but he has this prolific presence online, practically admitting to everything publicly, and yet he doesn't get caught by the police until Nico finally puts a stop to him. Both Jeff and Eddie are hard for Nico to understand as they're totally insane. Killing is just part and parcel of the only world Nico knows. In both war and the criminal underworld of Liberty City, killing is the norm. But there are at least some rules or some semblance of a purpose behind the killing, despite how senseless it is. Here, Nico is confronted with the insanity that lurks only a little bit beneath the surface of the city. To him, these people are grotesque and incomprehensible. So when faced with someone so deranged like Eddie Lowe, a guy who takes sick pleasure in his crimes, Nico seems to be genuinely disturbed, which is definitely a rare thing in this game. Almost nothing phases Nico. Nothing really gets under his skin until he meets Eddie.
That ain't happening.
As covered earlier, the whole dating scene in the game is something that I think many players might have overlooked, as I certainly did. You're only required to really go on one date to complete the story, and that's the first date with Michelle. Before I cover the darker aspects of Nico's romantic possibilities, it's worth talking about Michelle a bit more first. As you should already know, Michelle is a federal agent, so this retrospectively makes all of her interactions with Nico really obvious attempts at trying to incriminate him. Even before we find it out, she's not exactly subtle about it.
Oh my god.
One creepy fact that I learned when revisiting Michelle and actually going on dates with her was what happens when you take her to a bar. As you can see, Nico gets stupidly drunk, but Michelle remains curiously sober. Nico even believes he's been spiked by her.
Why do you always go and get the drinks? If I did not know any better, I would think you were trying to put something in my glass.
Whilst Michelle is disturbingly dedicated to her work, the real crazies that Nico can date are, quite naturally, found on the internet dating site lovemeet.net. There are quite a few women that can be dated here, and none of them are quite all there. If not outright crazy, they have some pretty major personality flaws. A good example is this one, who you can meet on Craplist, and she even starts a blog about Nico after dating him. In any case, once you're liked enough by these women, they all give you some unique benefit, which I don't know if that makes up for having to spend time with them, but hey, it's at least something. Arguably the best unique girlfriend ability is being able to lose your wanted level of up to 3 stars. The price you pay for this, however, is quite a heavy one. As far as first impressions go, Kiki, who's a lawyer, is quite normal and maybe even a pretty decent person, particularly if you don't get her drunk right away. Apart from really hating being cheated on, she otherwise isn't too worried. Take her to a bar though, and things go rather different. Even on normal dates, she'll start to suddenly and repeatedly bring up her various ex-boyfriends, most of whom are her former clients, aka really bad crimes.
You're gonna have to do a hell of a lot better than that if you want to stop me.
Doesn't stand a chance.
You have paved the way for the Archmother's return.
Client, lover, friend, spiritual guru.
What were you appealing?
A triple homicide conviction. There's no way he killed those guys. Such a big
So they probably went out to meet again. This is very empty.
One in particular,
Victory.
Dorian, doesn't sound like the best guy in the world.
Who is Dorian?
Yeah, this doesn't count. Let's try another one.
Well, that was what he was accused of, but it was obviously self-defense. A mother clearly attacked him and shot her and her kids.
Self-defense?
It was a conspiracy.
Kiki seems to have some deep-rooted guilt for her privileged upbringing, and this guilt leads into her professional and romantic life. She's also massively condescending without any self-awareness to recognize
It's all fun and games until someone kicks a barrel of its
Jesus.
No one's a better shot than me.
Born in the project sells their own crack.
It's cool though, because it means Nico can wear any cheap clothes or drive any banged up car and she's actually into it. And it's not just criminals that Kiki has dated in the past, as you eventually learn.
Don't you find that when you're getting close to someone, you just want to be with them the whole time? Or if not, at least know where they are all the time?
Not really.
This ex of mine, he...
Is this another one of your clients?
No, this was my professor at law school. He had the gall to accuse me of stalking him.
So she's a certified stalker with a long list of murderous ex-boyfriends. Does it get worse? Yes. Yes, it does. After dates, Kiki will send some really needy text messages, which aren't a big deal, but ignoring her for a little while, or simply just doing other stuff in the game, will trigger her to call you out of nowhere demanding to know where you are.
Nico, where are you? Down.
Fourth side.
Great.
Made an example out of another one.
I need you, Nico.
This isn't cool. Don't come find me. I'll call you later.
Kiki is both paranoid that Nico is cheating on her, as well as totally possessive over her, and she doesn't take getting dumped too well either.
Man, it's taking a bit too long. What the fuck?
You kind of freak me out.
Damn it, Nico. You don't have to rub my face in it. This is how you make me feel. I think I love you. Help me.
Shortly after dumping her, you'll receive one of a few different texts. These include, "Who is she? I still love you."
Finally.
And this one, which I'd rather not read out loud. On one occasion, I dumped her and decided to clear my head with a bit of a rainy drive. Then I saw a lady who seemed a bit underdressed for the weather, so I offered her a ride home. Suddenly, I got the text from Kiki saying, "What does she have that I don't have?" And I began to panic. Was she following me? She lives in Algonquin, so how can she be here? Is it her connections that give her eyes and ears all over the city? I ditched the girl and looked around all over the place wondering where she was and how she knew. But it was probably just poor timing. And no, it doesn't end there. If you really feel like triggering Kiki, call her up for a date, cancel or stand her up, and then go date other girls. At first, she might not take it too badly, but that will soon change. At certain times, after leaving another girl's house, I'd find the car that I parked outside clearly vandalized. Sometimes it's missing its hood or a door, and other times one of your wheels will just fly off when you drive down the street. I never managed to make this happen, but if you go to certain places with another girlfriend, Kiki can actually be seen popping out of nowhere, from alleyways or around the corner, yelling and threatening the girl you're with. Looking through the game files, I found a lot of dialogue that is heard in different situations, and they all revolve around the same kind of theme.
Why are we leaving? Do you have to get back to some cheap whore or something? Why are we stopping? Have you got to run to some cheap whore? Can't you even finish going? Are you that eager to get off to some other whore? I bet you finish the game and start with your other whores. I can tell you mine. Whores already. Shit. Insult to fucking injury, Nico. Sorry, I'm not one of your cheap whores, okay? So you think I'm cheap like your other whores. Thanks a lot,
Fucking idiot.
Nico.
Okay, then.
Ready to give pursuit.
Sorry, I can't right now. I hope you get some shit.
Since Kiki doesn't take rejection very well, and she causes Nico a lot of issues, I decided to find a different way to let her go. This video has already included many references to the in-game internet to provide more details on characters and places, but we really haven't even scratched the surface of what it has to offer. Probably the first, and definitely one of the only tastefully done simulations of the actual internet that we've seen in the game. It's like an entire virtual world that's accessible within the already virtual world of the game. I still haven't come close to reading through everything that exists here, which is saying a lot for such an old game. At the same time, it's basically entirely satirical.
Come on.
One huge article by The Onion, parodying the real internet. The spot on parodies of early social media, blog sites, online dating, and even news pages are all just so well crafted. The amusing little pop culture references, subtly and strategically placed within dating profiles, is pure genius, but might easily go over the head of anyone that didn't grow up in the 2000s. The emails, too, are like this ongoing comedy bit throughout the game, with all the totally ridiculous yet somehow accurate spam emails, and all the possible funny replies that can be given. Since the internet is so often a source of comic relief in the game, the fact that it also covers some pretty dark subject matter makes it just that much more disturbing, and that is what I'll attempt to cover in this chapter. First, we'll head back to the Liberty Police site, which I've brought up a few times already. Straight away, the logo or emblem for the LCPD seems to be a very obvious parody of another police department based in New York. Instead of the scales of justice, we have the scales of donuts and coffee, which is stereotypically a big focus for the police rather than actually being committed to justice. Then we have the rather clear depiction of police brutality in the emblem, something that the NYPD is become quite notorious for. This emblem, along with Francis McCreary on the homepage, paints a picture of the cruel, corrupt, and incompetent police force that we see depicted throughout the game. Adding to the incompetence is the fact that at the bottom of the page, we see that there's a link to the police database. It appears to be locked, and trying to access it gives a warning to anyone without the authorization. And yet, we can simply click it and access it immediately without any issues, being able to view everyone's detailed record. A lot of the names here are recognizable from the main story of the game, and others are not. This name, Jill von Krastenberg, is referenced throughout the game, though she's never actually seen. She's clearly gotten into some trouble in the past couple of years, and there's a notable reference to a certain kind of tape featured. The disturbing part, if you haven't already noticed, is her age. It gets worse from here. If we head to Electric Tip, which is some kind of parody of both Live League and maybe World Star Hip Hop, we actually find that the video in question was uploaded to the site. Dip Dap Dead seems to be the only commenter concerned about Jill in the comment section, with other people claiming the video is fake. Jill von Krassenberg is a walking parody of the parasites of the world at that time. Every tiny detail of her life is recorded, like her using the bathroom or earning half a pound. It's all totally absurd, and there's constant news about her antics. Of course, it wouldn't be complete without a certain type of celebrity tape, which was so crucial for creating fame around other vacuous, real-world celebrities whose only skill or talent seemed to be their attention. Her age is obviously distorted, but maybe it's a massive exaggeration and joke, aimed at how young and stupid a lot of these celebs are. Or maybe it's highlighting the sickness of the public and tabloids, who are youth-obsessed, and don't actually care about the real human behind the headlines. Kraustenberg makes a return 5 years later in GTA 5, and her picture on Bleeder from that game's internet seems to show a woman well into her 40s, despite apparently only being 18. I like to think the age thing was all just another fake headline, aiming to create another layer of sensationalism and satire in an already totally insane situation. But her prematurely old appearance could also show that she's just aged well beyond her years, because of a stressful, media-hungry life she's lived. Again, shining a spotlight on the public.
What the fuck is Billy doing?
I really
On
don't quite know what to
4-0.
make